Welcome to Lassoing Leadership. I'm your host, Jason Rogers.
And I'm also your host, Garth Nichols.
We're back with another Guest-a-palooza, Garth. I couldn't be more excited. We've got some amazing guests.
That's right, Jason. We've taken a lesson from Ted Lasso, and we've been really trying to have these callbacks to previous guests on our show as a way to stay connected with them. But this episode is super special for another reason. And Jason, do you know what that is?
Because connection is so important in life and in leadership and in podcasting. But there's more. You're right. It's our final episode of season 1 of our podcast, Garth. This is 46 episodes later, and this is the last one.
Yeah, and we couldn't be more excited to end season 1 of our podcast and season 3 of the final season of Ted Lasso with these incredible guests that we have today.
But don't worry, listeners. I know you're probably panicking out there. In the fall, we'll be back with a brand new design for the show. We're still going to talk about Lasso, because how could you not? But we're really going to focus on key leadership themes that we pulled out of the 3 seasons of Ted Lasso. So I'm pretty excited to jump back in already, Garth, and see what the next 46 episodes hold.
Yeah, there are 10 themes that we've noticed over the last year of this podcast, and so we'll be doing a deep dive in each of them, have guests help us figure it out, explore some books, podcasts, and articles to deepen and extend our understanding, and then connect it to our own lived experience. So yeah, we're excited about it.
And selfishly, Garth, it's a reason to hang out with you and with great people like we have on this podcast. So I can't wait to keep doing that.
Yes, me too. And we love hanging out with our listeners. So if you're hoping for more listener feedback, we are hoping for more listener feedback, but also questions from our listeners for our guests and for us. So we want to take your questions, and that's going to be a real push in season 2 of our podcast.
Sure is, Garth. Now let's get on to this episode. How about it? Let's get going.
Yeah, and so to maximize our time together, I'm going to ask our guests to introduce themselves, and it could be their title, their favorite sort of Ted Lassoism, etc., and hopefully what episode they were on. But we should all be familiar with our 3 amazing humans who are our guests today. Go, Les.
I'm going to jump in. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Les Macbeth. I'm Director of Special Projects at Future Design School. My favorite Ted Lassoism is be a goldfish and just keep moving forward, think about the present and what's happening next, and not think about what's behind you. And I was on season 3, episode 6, where they went to Amsterdam.
Hi, friends. My name is Phoebe Trotman. I am a soccer coach, an author, and a speaker. And I'm with Les on that favorite Ted, be a goldfish. I mean, life happens so quickly and things don't always go as planned. And I love that. And I was actually on season 3, episode 8.
Nice.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Tracy Fosher. I'm deputy head at Holy Trinity School. I have a slightly different favorite Tedism, and that's Ball is life. It just encapsulates like being super passionate about what you do and bringing that in and having fun. And I'm excited to be here with everyone today.
Yeah, it's great to have everyone back.
It is awesome to have everybody back. And as we think about those Ted Lasso-isms, if you will, and I know a lot of educators listen to this program. I mean, education is life for a lot of us, but on occasion we got to be that goldfish and move forward into our summer break. So for all the educators out there, I am so excited for you. And I hope that you put last year in the past and you're excited about next year, just like we are about the next season of this podcast. But what a lineup. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Yeah, and here we go. So we've changed it up from our last Guest-a-palooza. We've given each of our guests a particular question in advance. So they will answer it, and then we'll all discuss their answer and add in our own thoughts, ideas, and insights. So Les, let's start with you. Your question is, because you work at Future Design School, you do a lot of design thinking, and we've had a couple of people on the show talk about it already. So what is the first thing that you think about when it comes to culture change? And answer through a design thinking lens.
Yeah, I think that most design thinkers are probably thinking the same thing I am right now, which is the first thing I think about is people, because change happens with people, and culture is also about people. And so understanding the needs of those people is really crucial to be successful in implementing any kind of change. And that's why, all design thinking is rooted in this idea of empathy and how do we understand the needs of people. I think along with that, there's mindsets that like I always talk about design thinking as a process and a mindset. And I think the mindset that goes with that is assuming positive intent. So as you're going into conversations with other people, how are we coming at it with a mindset of like looking at challenges, of knowing that everyone's busy. When it comes to changing culture, it's uncomfortable. It's not necessarily hard, but it's uncomfortable. And that makes people uncomfortable. And so how do we come at that with that empathetic mindset of understanding the needs of people? And so when you think about that, being open to feedback, being more committed to relationships, to developing trust and rapport with the people that you're working with. And, at Future Design School, we do a lot of strategic planning, and we always start with that consultation. How do we go in and really understand the people in this community? Because whatever change you're going to implement, whether it's a strategic plan or whether it's a cultural change, it comes back to understanding what's the current state. How do we gather that information and use that to make decisions moving forward? And so, there's that saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you've got a great strategic plan, that's amazing. But if you don't have a culture that's open to change, and it takes time, it's about that relationship building and being committed to the culture that you aspire to, and modeling that for other people. So yeah, people, it all comes down to that, and relationships.
Okay, so Leslie, I'm thinking about what you just said, and I think it's true and magical. And I think back to when Ted came to Richmond for the first time. He had to get curious about the culture there and then aspired to change it. I'm also thinking about some conversations I've recently had with a friend who's taking on a principalship in a new school here in the next school year. I'm going to ask your advice on what's the first question or series of questions you might ask as you move into the school, when you're talking to people in a new school, and you're taking on principalship, and you're seeking to be empathetic and understand. What advice would you give to Ted Lasso, or this new principal moving into a new organization?
Yeah, I'm going to go with my three favorite question starters for our teachers, our sentence starters for this, which is tell me more, explain, and describe. We teach this when, I was just on a call last night. One of our partnerships at Future Design School is running the Google Innovator Program, and we did the launch of the next academy last night. And we spent the entire hour and a half just talking about those three questions: tell me more, explain, and describe, because those are great openers to encourage storytelling. Instead of saying, what are you doing or how are you doing it, which get at tactics. Tell me more about your experience here in this school. Explain to me what gets you excited about coming to work every day. Describe why you became a teacher. Getting at that heart of people's motivations happens through storytelling. So those kinds of question openers, rather than asking the tactical who, what, when, where questions, going in with that mindset of tell me stories about your experience here, and then how can you unpack from that what's motivating people and what really drives them, and understanding that is going to help you understand what things can happen to make change in the school, or to just really develop that contextual understanding.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad I asked. Thanks, Leslie.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to jump in on that? I will. Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, I can connect. There's a lot that Leslie said that resonates with me, and also with some things and characters from the show. But I think I would start with, that idea of modeling, and that you have to put people at the center of it, because if you don't, then you are not going to get anywhere, no matter how small or grand your strategic aspirations or goals are for an organization. If you are doing them in a silo, if you are just considering, the end result and not the steps that you need to take to get there, you're not going to get very far. So I think that's something that I really resonate with. It's also something that I saw Rebecca on the show. She probably had one of the biggest arcs of that, where in season 1, she's not really thinking about the people, she's thinking about revenge. And then we end with season 3, and the team is like her heart, and it's at the center of everything she does. So those are just some quick connections that I can make to Leslie's incredible points there.
Yeah, Rebecca in episode 10 has this meeting with the Okufu Super League, and she is a great storyteller in that meeting, and she kind of follows Leslie's questions, right? Don't you remember? And I remember this little boy who turned out to be Rupert, but yeah, the storytelling and change management is so critical. And I love what you said, Tracy, about consider the impact of the process that you're undergoing on the people who that process is, serving, or the people who that process is impacting. I really appreciate that.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I think that's a great wrap on Les's comment question there. I'd love to get to Phoebe and hear a little bit more about your book, Phoebe, Never Quit on a Bad Day, your series of books. They're inspiring stories of resilience. As we think about, what's important in learning from bad days, like what's the most important thing that you can draw out from learning from bad days, Phoebe? I'm super excited to hear what you've learned over your time in exploring this concept.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And I think the biggest thing that we can take away, number one, from bad days, everybody has them. Everybody goes through challenging times. And the biggest thing is knowing, you're not alone in those challenging times. And what can we learn from when we go through those challenging times? What can we learn from other people? How did they move through that challenge? Because, I heard the quote the other day that everyone goes through pain, but suffering is a choice. And so how do we move through that when we do get hit with, whether it might be a bad moment, it could be a bad, day, it could be a bad season. How do we move through that, and how do we grow from that? Because just like, when you go to a gym and you're lifting weights, there's that resistance, and that's how you grow your muscle, is you have to go through that and go through that. And just like internally and emotionally, we grow when we do bounce back from those tough challenges that might happen again, whether it's physical challenges, emotional, spiritual, mental. How do we move through that? And so just learning and hearing other people's stories is inspiring, because when you hear what people go through, and just a reminder that everybody's going through something, at some point in their life, and what they do with that and how they choose to show up is really that choice that we all have a chance to make.
Phoebe, I love that, because I keep talking about stoicism, but your comment about going to the gym, resistance is how you grow your muscles, right? Resistance is growth. And there's this saying, the obstacle is the way. It's Ryan Holiday's title of one of his books. The obstacle is the way forward. You have to embrace it, and it's that mindset. What are some, and you framed it as you have to choose how you're going to show up. What are maybe some phrases, some ideas or perspectives that you can bring to help people, leaders, show up? To be like, yeah, I'm suffering, but I need to show up here. I'm in pain, but I need to show up here. What are some things that maybe you can help us provoke the right response to when we are meeting with resistance, or we're in front of an obstacle?
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to some of the stuff too with the relationships, right? Focusing on the people, because when you have when you focus on the people, whether you're in a leadership role, whether you're a part of a community, when you can really start to think about how am I showing up for those other people and putting them first and moving from there, then it helps us to give us another focus. And I think another piece is the gratitude piece, and just finding something, something to be grateful for, even when you're in that challenging season. There's always something to be grateful for. It might not be what you're going through. It might be being grateful for something else and bringing that gratitude over. But it just, again, helps us. Gratitude really just helps us shift our focus. It really does. And then from there, it allows us to kind of move forward. And so I always just encourage people, even when you're going through that tough stuff, just find something that you can smile about, something that you can be grateful for. And it might even be, reaching out to a friend or family member, having those go-to people that you can reach out to before you enter into whatever, avenue you're going through. I always tell my coaches, it's like we have to leave whatever's happening kind of behind closed doors when we step onto that field, and really give our all to our team and those players, because also they're going to feed off our energies. And so if we go in, with this, I'm frustrated, I'm upset. And again, those are all emotions we all go through. However, if we go into that, our players are going to feed off that as well too. So how can we just take a big deep breath, find something to be grateful for, and just choose to move forward by focusing on the people that we're there to lead or to just connect with in our community.
I love it. Focus on relationships, and that draws the attention away from your own pain right? And it goes back to what Leslie was saying around empathy, right? People first. That's great stuff. Thank you so much.
Hey,
Yeah, you read my mind there. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead, Les. Yeah,
I was
you
gonna
go,
say, you read my mind there about gratitude. As you were talking, I was thinking about that, and I know a lot of us are on the call here are athletes who intentionally put ourselves through painful experiences for fun. And one of my coaches, when I was first starting to do triathlons back in the day, said to me, when you're feeling pain on the race course, thank somebody. Thank a volunteer, thank a fan, thank the police officer who's stopping traffic. Just start saying thank you to everybody, and it'll actually, like, there's something that like chemically happens in your body when you give thanks to other people that helps you get through that pain. And so I love that you went there. You totally read my mind when you were talking about growth through pain, and that resistance and that gratitude is so important.
Awesome.
I think that's all so true, and I really think that's part of the reason why I've loved Lasso so much, honestly, is like, Phoebe, you bring up, everybody has bad days, and we see Ted have a lot of bad days, right? Whether it's professionally, which happens on occasion, but mostly personally with his family, with his anxiety. And we see that real humanity in leadership. And I think it resonates because we all know internally that's a reality, but externally, we don't often give that off. So I think being mindful of that and then countering with gratitude strategy is really powerful, Phoebe. Those are amazing points.
Awesome. All right, it's Tracy's turn. Tracy, your question is, how do you stay above the fray of the day-to-day as a leader? How do you stay above the turmoil that you might meet with, the struggle, the pain of others, all that good stuff? How do you stay above it in the day-to-day as a leader?
Yeah, I love this question. It is a really hard question. And I would say before I answer, it's still something that I work really hard to be aware of. One thing that I know about myself is I am a very visual and kinesthetic learner. So when things feel abstract, I have to kind of ground it in something. And so one thing that I've started thinking about this year is, how do I use my bifocals? So how do I have something that will help me see things that are immediate really clearly? But then how do I also have a space that forces me to look up and look ahead and have clarity there as well? And that has been something that whenever I find myself like in the weeds too much, trying to say, okay, where are your bifocals? You've got to look ahead. You've got to use that other part of your skill set. So for me, it's really having an actual thing to redirect my thinking when I'm feeling that way. But just some day-to-day things, I try when meetings get canceled, which aren't often, but when they do, I don't just sit and use that as a chance to get caught up on emails. I take that as an extra chance to walk around the building and just kind of check in. I always learn something new, or someone says something to me that is a great piece of information that will help in other areas. I also have, at the beginning of the year, I set up my calendar and all of my leaders' calendars with our consistent check-ins for the year. That doesn't mean they won't move around as things come up, but they're there to be rescheduled. And in those meetings, those are really important for me because they're ways to connect on how that particular leader is bringing forward strategic goals, the challenges they're having. And it's a really great opportunity to have those higher level conversations. Sometimes we do have to get caught up on what's happening with like teachers and students and things like that. But for the most part, we set those times to really discuss bigger projects and to help plan through those and go through the next steps. And that's probably one of my favorite parts of the work that I get to do. But yeah, those are just some of the things. I also get up ridiculously early as a way to get work out of the way, like the easy, low stuff, like the emails and that, so that it clears my day for some bigger things. But yeah, it's a hard one. It is a constant battle that I'm working on and have to remind myself about.
Wow, Tracy, I think, if I was to summarize that into 3 points, and those are extraordinary points. One is knowing yourself and how you work. I think is such a powerful part of our leadership is having that understanding. Secondly, I love your use of metaphor there. And I think the idea of bifocals really has enlightened kind of even my thinking in this short time about how do you zoom in and zoom out and have a better understanding of that. And I think we see it throughout Ted Lasso, that idea of using metaphors and storytelling to bring greater clarity and understanding to a problem that you face. And I think you've done that magically with time management. And I think the third one is something Garth and I have been talking about in the background, is this idea of offsetting productivity. So when your calendar opens up, do you do busy work, or do you take that offset and put it into that heartful work, or that connection time, or that connection work? And I love the way that you frame that for people who are listening, is that don't just take that time and do busy work, but instead take that offset and do something that really makes you truly productive in your leadership. So very well done. That's pure gold, Tracy. Thanks again.
Yeah, and I love that idea of you've got scheduled meetings, obviously some flexibility built in, but you also have that sort of headspace to say what's important in the day. All the busy work can get done during the start of the day or the end of the day, but what's important during the day is relationships. So we've got a really nice theme going here for all of your answers, and it's a theme that is throughout Ted Lasso. So I just love that. I love that. This is like leadership gold here. So
hey, Garth. Garth, do you think let's get to some rapid fire with our guests? I think it'd be awesome to get a little bit more insight that way. What do you think?
Yeah. Are you, Tracy, Les, Phoebe, are you game for this?
Let's do it.
Rapid fire, got thumbs up from everybody. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to start.
Lead out, buddy.
Yep. I'm going to start rapid fire. So we try to keep our answers relatively short here. First question, we'll go Leslie, Phoebe, and Tracy in that order. What would you want your leadership superpower to be?
Balancing hope and optimism. So I find myself, I'm overly optimistic sometimes, and I think that the difference between hope and optimism is that you have a good reason to be optimistic. So finding that balance between hope and optimism would be my superpower.
Okay.
I'm going to go with visionary thinking, the ability to see the future. That way we can help our team set clear goals and just to be able to see future trends and opportunities so that we can set those goals and rally the team on board to work towards those goals.
Yes, Tracy?
Slow down time. I don't think I need to explain it.
I want that one. I changed my mind. I want that one.
Make time. So, I was talking about this with my principal the other day. It's like, if you could have one thing, what would it be? And her answer to her, I think it was her daughter asked the question, was, I'd have the ability to stop time, but only if I could keep going. Make more time in the day.
Zach Morris, Saved by the Bell style. Remember?
There you go.
Snap his fingers and everything else will pause and you keep going. Yeah, that's what I want.
Jason, you're up.
Okay, reverse order this time. Tracy, you're up first. What sustains you in your leadership?
I mentioned it already. It's when I get to coach and mentor the other leaders and people in the school. That's keeps me going.
Awesome. Phoebe?
Passion for the mission. So what we're working towards as a team, and just being passionate for what we're looking to, again, create and do.
Cool. Les?
I'm going to go with relationships and seeing the impact of your work to kind of combine those two things of seeing the impact and being set towards the mission and driving that through relationships is what keeps me going.
Nice.
Amazing.
All right, Phoebe, you're going to kick us off, and we'll go Tracy and then Les. Phoebe, how did you learn to be a leader?
So I feel like I was very fortunate in terms of with my parents and family members that I have a lot of family who are in leadership, not necessarily in positions from employment, but just in terms of opportunities that they've created in organizations. So definitely through seeing other leaders, and then also trial and error. It just sort of happened in the soccer world in terms of on teams where I was nominated as captain and sort of learned as you go.
Yeah. Tracy?
Yeah, similar. I have to acknowledge the role that my dad played. I think he started talking to me about what it looks like to be a leader as far back as I can remember. And that just has always been something that was important to me. Outside of that, it's never one moment. I think also outside of my dad, just had some really great mentors, including my current head, Helen Pierrazzo, and another educator who's incredible, Sandra Herbst. And just taking opportunities and not worrying about risk.
Nice. Les?
Similar to both Tracy and Phoebe, I think it started at home. Two quotes I remember from my childhood. My dad used to always say to me, walk in like you own the place, Les. That was his mantra for me, just walk in like you own the place. Believe it or not, I was very shy as a child. I was like afraid of almost everything. And he was really trying to encourage me to just have more confidence. But my mom's mantra was, you sign up, you show up. And so it was kind of like follow through on your commitments was like a big thing for us. So I learned that as a young person. But then in my professional career, I think it was mentorship. You know, people like, well, Garth, you were one of my first mentors, so I'm going to throw you out there as someone who I learned leadership from. But also, you know, my current role, Sandra and Sarah, who I work with at Future Design School, I learn a lot from them every single day. So I think being surrounded by people who push you and who believe in you is a key part of developing your leadership. So.
Okay, let's do mantra or quote. What's your favorite mantra or quote? Phoebe, Les, Tracy, in that order.
Okay, well, I have to say never quit on a bad day. That's a given. That's part of it. And then my next one I would say is life begins at the edge of your comfort zone, or the end of your comfort zone, by Neil Donald Walsh, because, you know, our comfort zone keeps us locked in, whereas when we start to push through that and just experience everything that we want, is on the outside of that comfort zone. So powerful quote and words to live by.
Love that.
I love that. That's such a good one. Mine would be a quote from Pablo Picasso that I actually have this magnet on my fridge that I've had for over 20 years now that says, if you know exactly what you're going to do, what's the point of doing it? And I think it really speaks to the idea of embracing uncertainty, of being open to experimentation and change, and keeping that mindset of like the joy of experiencing new things, but going at it from this mindset of like being a goldfish, I guess. Like, let's worry about what's going to happen when it happens, and not be too caught up in what did happen or what's going to happen next. So,
beautiful. Tracy?
Phoebe and Les, I'm jealous. You both have such like short, concise, quippy quotes. Mine's long, but it's really important to me. I have it in my office space, but it's beware of your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your habits, and watch your habits because they become your character. For me, it's something that I've always come back to, and I've been in moments where I know I need to push myself, or to grow, or to change, or to be better, because it starts with your thoughts and your thinking, and it goes out from there. So that would be mine for sure.
Wilson, what's yours?
Oh, gosh. Let me come back to that, girl. I was just stuck in Tracy's. I was loving every word of that. What's yours? You go ahead.
It's kind of like what Les was talking about. My dad, you know, everyone's talking about their family, so I'll stay on theme. My dad gave us a really cool picture of him doing something very daring, flying in a plane, like a great picture of him. And on the back, he had this quotation, be bold and courageous in life. You'll regret the things you didn't do more than the things you did. I was like, yeah. And then you apply that to leadership, or you apply that to, when you apply it to leadership, it's challenging conversations, right? You got to enter into the fray. And then in life, it's like, take risks, right? Don't think that you have to know everything before you do them. So. Yeah,
I love that. And I think, you know, now that I've had a chance to think about it, Garth, and I was thinking about Tracy and all the words in hers, but the man in the arena quote sits in my office, and I often think about that one. And so I'm not going to recite it here, but I encourage people to go back and have a look at that brief speech. I guess it's not just a quote, but pretty inspirational.
Yeah. I love that connection between, you know, to really change yourself, Tracy, it's like you got to start to think differently. And there's a whole cascade down from there, right? Who you surround yourself with. There's like some crazy statistic of like you are the average of the 10 people you spend the most time with, or something like that. So, okay, last question. We're going to jump back into Ted Lasso. Who is your all-time favorite character from the hit series Ted Lasso?
And it's okay if everybody has the same one, because we all know who's the best.
Well, I can, right? No. I'll jump in first. My favorite character is Beard. I love Beard because there's this arc of his, well, the arc of every character. The amazing thing about Ted Lasso is the arc of the characters as they like change over time. But I think we see Beard go from kind of this guy who doesn't say much to being this like deep thinker, philosopher by the end of it. And I just love his style. I think that he offers a lot of like great advice in key critical moments. He's a really like the epitome of like a great supporting character in a show, I think. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Who you got, Phoebe?
I feel like this question is like asking someone to pick their favorite child. I literally sat there and I don't have kids, and I was like, how can they ask us this question? So I love the show. I mean, I'm going to say Rebecca because I just, again, as Leslie said, that arc of Rebecca's character from coming in season 1 and just being all about kind of like drama and revenge, and then just how she's grown and she's such a solid rock. So definitely Rebecca. I got to say Roy Kent because I just love my Roy Kent. And then Jamie, I mean, my superpower needs to be decisiveness. But anyways, I have a lot of favorite characters, so we'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Tracy, who's your favorite character?
I'm with Phoebe on this one. Rebecca is my all-time favorite character. It really was a tough one between her and Roy, but I think at the end of the day, it's Rebecca.
And Garth, I know we're just a little bit over time here, but it's worth every minute. Why don't you quickly tell us who'd you end up with in the end?
Yeah, when all the chips fall on the table, for me, Jamie Tart.
Jamie Tart.
Jamie Tart. Yep. I end up wanting him on my team, being on his team, not because he is a gregarious, outgoing leader, but because he gets that locker room leadership so well. Just love the guy. Jason?
It's going to be a bit of a shocker for you all, but it's actually it's Ted. Ted is it. You know, I don't think he got picked at all through all of our seasons. And this is the leader who sits back and helps everybody achieve their best and shine throughout everything. And I really do think he's the ultimate leader in all of this. He's a conduit to greatness, and he's selfless in that. And, you know, everybody we've mentioned, I think, is better because of his impact, and really, really do feel that. So Ted wins the day. There you have it.
Wow, Jason, I was not expecting that. That's a bold move for you. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open-minded. I love it. I love it.
What's going to happen? What's the point of doing it, guys? You just shocked us all.
There you go, Les. Well, I'm exhausted. I am absolutely exhausted. There's so much to process on this show with all of you. Thank you so much. What a way to end season 1 of our podcast.
It's been my absolute best. I'm so grateful to all of you. But before we wrap up, Les, why don't you tell people where they could find you if they're looking for you?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me at futuredesignschool.com or anywhere you can look for Future Design School. I'm also generally known as Les Macbeth on the internet. Don't look for Leslie Macbeth. She doesn't exist. It's just Les. So Future Design School, check us out. We've got lots of great resources, and we work with schools all around the world. So love to hear from some leaders out there.
And Phoebe, where can they find you and your books?
Absolutely. So super simple. Neverquitonabadday.com is my website, as well as I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and the books are available on Amazon and most online retailers. So you can grab a copy there.
Highly recommend these books. They are amazing for a bunch of different ages too. Jason's got his copy. I've got mine. I'm reading mine with my son. It's amazing stuff.
Thank you.
And Tracy, what about you?
You can find me at Holy Trinity School. I'm also on LinkedIn. And I have to take a quick moment just to talk about something really, really exciting that Garth is involved in as well. This September, CIS Ontario is launching a new professional development year-long program called the Leadership Lab. So, you know, maybe there's some future collabs with this podcast as well. But really quick, it is a professional development to really help people who are in leadership or who want to be in leadership to feel confident, upskill, and to create a network. So, yeah, really excited to be launching that this fall with Garth and Graham Budd as well.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this is the last episode of our podcast this season. So again, amazing to have you all on this. Spend time together with our incredible, incredible guests today. Thank you.
And Gareth, we've had 46 episodes and countless guests over this time. But I think we take a moment and just thank them all quickly before we sign off at the end of the season.
Yeah, awesome. Let's do it in no particular order. Thank you to all of our guests, Virgil Hill, Dr. Kathy Bishop, of course, my Havergal College varsity basketball team.
They were great, Garth, even though they beat the Rundle College Cobras. We still forgive them. Keith Vandermeer, Jason Kurzweil, Courtney Ochi, Nicole Assisi, and Quinn Simpson.
Yep. And then my good friends, Carla DiFilippo, Tanai Nike, Rob Porteous, Dr. Taylor Armstrong,
Dr. Claire Kelly, Danny Bauer, David Coffey, all thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course, our NLC, our CASE National Leaders Conference live recording. That was a blast.
Hold on,
of course,
Dr. Lynn Bassetti jumped on that episode, so we can't forget about her.
Of course, thank you. And of course, to Leslie Macbeth, Tracy Fosher, and Phoebe Trotman, a huge thank you so much.
All right, and thanks. We are looking forward to season 2 of our podcast in fall, so keep listening, and please, please keep subscribing.
And Jason, thanks to you. Thank you to you. I really can't put into words what this time with you has meant for me and to me. It's been a huge leveling up of my leadership, perspectives, strategies. I feel so fortunate to have arm wrestled you into this with me. So thank you, my friend.
The pleasure's been all mine as well. I think this is great professional learning, and I think for all of us, just putting yourselves out there into the world and thinking about leadership and thinking about things that you care about and sharing them with other people, I think is the heart of how we develop. And this has been that for me, and also a great human connection, Garth, with you and with all of our guests. And it's been a highlight of every week, and I look forward to keeping it going next year.
Okay. So until next time,
keep leading the Lasso way. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good summer.